Hello everyone, today is Wednesday, October 30th. It's about 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, about 11:30 my local time. I haven't made a video in a while showing a weekly recap of our 100% automated trading performance in live simulation. These are our templates. No trader interaction is done in any of the charts that are shown in these templates here. So I wanted to do that. I have a couple of announcements to make. We have a couple of new features in the NinjaTrader 7 version. There will be a new release. I'll let everybody know when I'm ready to send it out, but I'm going to show a couple of screenshots of some of the new features. Very, very exciting, very useful and functional filters in addition to our arsenal of already really great filters and things that will assist in your trading. In our spreadsheet here, now going on about 3 months of live data, I've really learned a lot from the data here. One of my clients is very proficient in data analysis, and he has made a probability sheet, which I'll show in a minute. But a couple things I learned from tracking this data on the spreadsheet, and I'm going to share that with you. Looking first at the E-mini S&P and the Nasdaq, and then the FDAX, they have been the most consistent performers, and the highest weekly number here would be the chart that has performed the best, and that would be, this is broken down into two contracts. So this was actually changed to, this is per contract. So this has now become the best performing chart. The Super Renko 4 with the 8-tick higher time frame trading two contracts, and it goes to show that you have a lot more latitude with the two contract setup. Okay, so let's take a look at the Super Renko 4 with the 8-tick higher time frame chart. This is today, and it did 737.50, and one of the reasons why two contracts is better than one is I can go for a little bit lower goal. So this is 375 per contract, and you can do it in a different way. You can scale out. Here I'm just going for 20 ticks, which is 5 points in the E-mini S&P, and it's 5 bars. A 4-tick Renko bar is 5 bars in distance. And then you see I do not have a profit target for profit target 2, and that's because I'm trailing by a percentage trailing stop at 28 ticks by 20%, and then by bars here. And so this has worked out pretty good. This is a pretty reliable setup. This template goes back long before we started tracking our spreadsheet, a long time, probably years. So this has been a reliable template for much longer than the beginning of our spreadsheet. In fact, this actually went through a 1-month drawdown and came back to be one of the best performers. Now I want to talk about the day of the week performance here, and this is something I've learned from watching the spreadsheet, and this strategy could be employed by anyone. So if we look at the best performing days, they're going to have the highest dollar value. So for this template, the best day of the week to trade this is Thursday, and then followed by Friday or Monday. For this template here, the best day of the week by far is Tuesday. And then for the Super Renko 5-tick, the best day of the week would be Friday, and so on. So if we find the highest numbers here, you could say on Monday, I'm going to trade the Super Renko 6, which has the highest performance. On Tuesday, I'm going to trade the Super Renko 4 with the opening range Step MA filter. On Wednesday, the highest probability system would be the Super Renko 4 with the 60-minute higher time frame. On Thursday, the highest probability would be either the Super Renko 8 or the Super Renko 6 here, and then on Friday it would be the the Super 5 here. So if you traded the highest probability template by day of the week, you could try this as a strategy. I don't know if it worked, but the data is telling us that it would. One of my clients was kind enough to create this probability grid for the spreadsheet, and basically what this tells us is any template with more than 0.5 has performed well. So so you can see the6 numbers here for days of the week, okay, and then the weekly total here. The Super 6 has 0.9, or a total of 1 here. This is the strongest template. Well, it's tied with the Super 8, and that makes sense, as I showed before. But the other strongest templates in order of rank would be this one here, the Super 4 with the Step MA filter, and then the Super 4 with the 6-tick higher time frame, and then the Super 4 with a 1597 Heikin-Ashi tick, and then Super 4 with the 4-tick higher time frame and limit -1. So by the probability chart, these are the charts with the highest probability, and with this information it could enable you to track particular templates of the week. Now I only have this for the ES and not the Nasdaq or the other markets, so that will be forthcoming. Okay, for the Nasdaq, the best performing chart is the 500 tick, and that is relatively new. I've only been tracking it maybe for a month now, but it's stellar right out of the gate. And then followed by the 1597 and the Super 12, which is also relatively new. But let's take a look at those charts. Okay, so this is the Nasdaq on a 500 tick chart. This is just a regular 500 tick chart using the open range filter. And so we had our first trade here. This was a losing trade, and I'm not using precision trend exit, although that would have worked out pretty well right here. And it looks like on this chart you could use precision trend exit, but the problem you would have is you would have been stopped out here, and maybe you would have entered short again here. So that's why we don't use it. But in other instances it can work really well. In any case, this had 3 winners and 1 loser and did 785 for the day, so it had really excellent positive slippage. The goal is 750 with a 550 loss limit, so really good win-loss ratio. And you can see from the template that this has been really solid, with Friday being the best day. Okay, so I want to bring over another chart. I've only traded this 2 days, and yesterday it was pretty good as well. But this is a Nasdaq on a 34 tick line break chart, and this uses the open range filter. And what's different about this is that the number of line breaks is 5, and you get these kind of nice swings, although their profit targets are pretty short. But I have this set up in such a way that it ignores these reversals because we're using the open range filter. So anyway, this did 810 today, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this kind of plays out. Okay, so just wanted to jump over to the the DAX, and show you the best performing chart in the DAX, which is the 150 Heikin-Ashi tick, and this has been a positive performer long before the spreadsheet. This goes way back. So here it is today with that very perfect open range setup. We probably didn't get filled on our limit order here at the US Open, which would have been a beautiful short trade. And I think the reason is this has an 8-tick pullback, and I was going to change that a long time ago back, and I probably should, because had I done that we would have got filled here, and as you can see this could have went much further than the $500 goal that we have, or $550 goal. Just this much distance was $550 to about here. So this trade alone was 3 or 4 times that. Anyway, this is the best performing chart on the DAX. Okay, the best performing chart on the crude is the 987 tick. Let's have a look. Okay, once again, our open range filter providing really excellent entry here. Unfortunately, the money management on this trade did not permit us to get out at a good place. Only made a few ticks on this trade, but it came back with this trade and ended up hitting its goal today. So let's take a look at how this might be improved. So here, trailing stop at 40 ticks. So our first place to trail a stop is 40 ticks, then 75 ticks, then 90 ticks. This moved from the entry of 55.38 to a low of 54.90. This was 48 ticks. This was 1 tick shy of triggering the trailing profit by percent. This is incredible. The entry was 55.38 and the low was 54.89. A low of 54.88 would have triggered our trailing stop at 25%, and we would have exited right here. So this is just one of those deals where just the market, and our profit target is 50 ticks. So we missed our target, well, by 10 ticks, but still, these kind of things happen in trading, really missing our trail stop by 1 tick. That's just a shame. In spite of that, it came back and hit its goal. Okay, the second best performer on the DAX is the Superenco 6 Step MA, starting at the US session. The Superenco 14 tick is in a bit of a drawdown at the moment, but I expect that to change. But let's take a look at this chart here. Okay, so not surprisingly, our open range filter and the Step MA had a perfect trade off the US Open, and you can see it right here, short at 12,899.50, and then covering here at 877. And so this has a goal of 650. Obviously, it hit our goal and had a couple of ticks of slippage, but very nicely done. A limit order with a 1 tick pullback. Okay, new for the Autotrader is the BWT Breakout Box, and you can see it shaded in here in blue. Unfortunately, the black background and the grid here, this was made by my programmer, not myself, and unfortunately the chart's not as clear as I would like it to be. However, it does show the breakout box here, and you can see the high and low of the breakout box is indicated right here. The low is 8,041 and then 8,045.75, and this is 8,045.75 here, and then 8,041.25 here, and there's a long entry right here. So you basically check the box here. This is top and bottom of the box, and it will draw a rectangle here, and if the bar closes above the high, you will go long. If it closes above the low, you'll go short. Now this is an awesome feature. Also, we've added a couple of more buttons to the trailing stop, so if you're trading multiple contracts, you can exit these positions, and these have all been tested and working well. We still have our breakout news entry. That's a horizontal line at a price, so you could actually have a limit order by putting a long trade, say, way down here. The market would still have to pull back to you. So there's the breakout box. In addition to that, okay, here's another example of the breakout box trade, and here's the prices for the box, the high and low, and then a short trade here at the close of the bar. Okay, we're also bringing back the BWT FibGrid. Long story short, BWT is back with Microtrends as our development partner, and this is very good news. as Tom from Microtrends is probably the best programmer in the business, and having him on the BWT team is just extremely valuable. So we will be offering the BWT FibGrid package. This is not included with the indicators. It's not included with the Autotrader. This is a separate purchase. I expect pricing to be about $695 approximately. The package includes several indicators. This is an auto fib. It draws the high and low based on how far you want to look back. So if you want to look back 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, it automatically draws the fib grid from the high and low. But the fib grid is much more than that. This is the fib grid, and the fib grid draws an open range for daily or weekly, just like our open range breakout. And it's combined with the BWT precision trend. So these green vertical bars, these are fib grid signals to go long. And then here's a beautiful short as well. So this basically draws the Fibonacci extensions from the opening price, and it tracks the range as well. So these are stats on the daily range. This is going back 42 sessions. This tells you the number of days that the Nasdaq reached 100% of its daily range. So it takes its average daily range for the last 40 days, and it tells you that the number of 100% days, the number of days it reached 100% of the range was 16 of 47 sessions. That's 38%. The number of days that it exceeded the range, it went 125% of the range, was 10 days, and so forth. The number of times that the Nasdaq went 50% of the range is 73%. 25% of the range, 80%, 34 sessions. So what that means is you can set your profit targets based on the percentages that, on the likelihood that 50% of the range will be reached. This is really valuable information. We will get into this in detail, how this can be used in the Autotrader. In NinjaTrader 8, we may incorporate this into the Autotrader and have these profit targets fully automated. But it's very powerful, particularly when you have confluence between the weekly fib extensions and the daily. When these overlap, these will be very strong levels of support and resistance. As you can see here, this is an overlap of weekly and daily Fibonacci here at this 80.55 price level. But I'll get more into this. I'm going to have a separate video explaining all the benefits and the awesomeness of the fib grid. Down here is the range grid. This shows you where you are in the day in achieving the daily range. In other words, right now it's only at 25% of the daily range. The daily range is expressed in ticks. So if the daily range is 400 ticks, then what this is telling us is we've only moved 100 ticks so far into the session, which is 25% of the daily range. With that information, you have an idea of how much potential the market has to reach its daily range, and what your targets might be if you started trading at at a particular point in the day, or where your entry might be. It gives great perspective to the market, along with having these confluences when the daily and weekly are close together, like right here, it's between 79.80 and 79.89. You know that this level here is a point of probably support and resistance where you have this kind of confluence. In addition to this, we have the BWT volume profile in the fib grid, and the high volume nodes from there will also confirm these areas of support and resistance. To prove that point about the volume profile, I only need to bring over this chart of the Nasdaq on a 987 tick with the volume profile and the daily range plotted on here. But let's notice where the highs and lows of the day was. we can see the high of today was equal to the night session, but more importantly is that the low of the day here coincides with the point of control from this day, from the 25th actually. So this high volume node, 8027, this is the point of control for the 25th, and this was the low of the day. The low of the day is actually, there was a little bit of overshoot here, so it was more like 8021. In any case, all these levels here, this high volume node for last night, you can see that it was resistance here in the 8054 55 level. Remember, we haven't seen Jim's video yet, which I will also have for you today after this. We'll see if he talks about these levels here. So the key levels in play for today, remember, I haven't even seen Jim's video yet, but I'm going to guess it's the 8050. Remember, halfway points, 50 and 100, round numbers like that, are always areas of interest for the market. Probably this level here, this high volume node at 8067, that's probably an important one. Same here as we go a little higher. This level here, 8081, and then 8092, which is also the low of the value area from this session here. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Have Jim's live video for you right after this.